Hey, hey, hey. It's your girl, it's your sister, it's your friend, it's your auntie, Erika Brown. I'm here with Soulful Revelations tonight. Now, we are early. We normally are the last Friday of every month. But this month, due to scheduling conflicts, we decided to come on a little early. So I have a couple, some fresh faces for you guys. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. We'll start with Alexis.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alexis Curtis. I don't know what all you want me to say, but
Tell us something about yourself.
well, I am a boss slash business owner and a mother
Okay,
of one, one
awesome.
son,
We
and a
like
woman.
bosses.
Yeah, and a woman of God. Most
All right,
importantly,
come on now. All right, Miss Lenedra, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Lenedra Powers, and I've been on here before. Erica's niece, and I have two beautiful children, and I'm at a stage where I'm just navigating life and loving life and learning and living and just excited for what the future holds. And I'm also a woman of God. And so that journey has also been amazing for me and to me.
I know that's right. So we have Miss Alexis and Miss Lenedra here tonight. And when I reached out to these young ladies about this topic, and the topic is, are you content with being single or are you desperately seeking marriage? And understand what desperately means. If you understand what that, are you trying to grab at marriage at every given corner? Is that my husband? Is he my husband? Is that my wife? Is that my wife? Is that my husband? Like you desperately seeking it, literally. And desperation always breeds bad decisions, literally. And the Bible tells us be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplications, make your request known to God. So if we are desperately seeking something, you already know it's wrong. It's already wrong, literally. So I would ask you ladies the question, are you desperately seeking marriage? Are you content with being single? And elaborate on either one. I'll let you go first, Lenedra.
Um, I am in a season where not to share too much, but I am recently divorced. And so I am in a season where I am content with being single. I've been given, just in my single season, being able to learn who I am as a person and grow. And I'm not desperately seeking marriage. However, there is a desire for marriage. And I do feel as if I will be married again, but right now I'm not desperately seeking. I'm not, grabbing at every person who comes my way. I'm just enjoying the journey that God has me on right now and the season that He has me on right now.
Amen. All
amen.
right. Miss Alexis.
So for me, I've been divorced a little longer. I've been divorced for about 8 years now. And so I have been content being single for a while, but I am at the point in my life where I do desire marriage. Desperate, no, because I think it's better to be by yourself and alone than having to deal with everything that's going on in this world. Because I've seen so many and heard so many stories, and I'm like, God, I thank you for covering me because I know I don't want to be one of the statistics, one of the people that get shot up, DV, all this stuff. Like, thank you God for protecting me, but I do want my husband, the one that you have for me.
Absolutely.
And
Ab-
with me being independent for so long, I know it's going to be kind of hard to allow a man to come in. So that's going to be a struggle. So I'm kind of like in between. I want it, but I don't. So I am content being single right now, but God knows my heart and He knows I desire companionship. Um, that's ordained by Him for sure.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I would say for myself, I'm content with being single. I'm definitely not desperately seeking nothing. I'm not desperately seeking anything, but I do desire marriage, but it has to be the marriage that God has called. I think that in viewing like relationships now, even some even some marriages, people are getting married really quick, um, and people are looking for things in marriage that they haven't sought out God for. Like people are marrying for sex, especially those in the body of Christ. They are getting married for sex. And so what happens, and I think Lenedra and I, we spoke about this on a podcast a while back. So what happens when someone is no longer able to give you the sex and you didn't get to know the person? So there's no more marriage then. So if you got married for sex, then when that person is possibly somebody gets sick, somebody, something happens so they can't perform that way, then what happens? And then people are getting my what I'm hearing now is men are getting married for maids. And I was like, wait, what?
Wild.
Wait, so what happens when she no longer wants to be that person in your life? When you first get married, and every last one of us, we've been married and divorced. So we understand when you first get married, is I'm gonna cater to my man, I'm making homemade lemonade, and I'm making, listen, I was Molly maid, Sally homemaker. I was that person. So I mean, cooking dinners every night. I mean, like I was all of that. I was literally that person because, for one, I was a stay-at-home wife. So I was able to do more catering. And when you're doing, all of those things, um, what happens when someone no longer wants to do that? And you've married her on the under the guise that she's gonna be making you homemade lemonade all the time, and she's gonna be baking you fresh cookies all the time. What happens then? It's no more. So, and then you've married that person on that guy, and then when that's taken away from you, then what's left for the marriage? Because you all didn't take the time to get to know each other. You had a need that needed to be met. You needed somebody to wash your clothes and cook you some dinner. I saw a guy post on Facebook, I just want a wife that can make me a sandwich for lunch. And I was like, no, no, honey, you need more than that. So I said, before she started making sandwiches, can you read Galatians 5:22 and 23, the fruits of the spirit? Because I need people to want more than just someone to fix them a sandwich. And it's, don't get me wrong, I understand men are much simpler than we try to make them to be. And it could be just that simple for him. But what happens when he realized her childhood wounds come out, and then he realized that she still has a lot of baggage that she's bringing in from previous relationships, and she realized that she has some trauma that she didn't talk about before she got married, because guess what, all you wanted was a sandwich. So what happens then? The marriage is gone. If you don't have the stability to sustain that and help her heal through those things, what do you have?
Right.
You guys want to elaborate?
Yeah, one of the things that God showed me, because listen, when you're going through a divorce, you try to figure out worldly, what happened, what did I do, what I could have done better. You go through all of the things, and one of the things God showed me through my process of speaking with him is stewardship. And you're speaking on, a lot of times we look at the worldly aspects of things, of what we can tangibly do for our spouses, the things that we assume that men like, and the things that we assume that women like. But one of the things that God showed me through his word, he calls himself the bridegroom. Marriage is extremely spiritual for him. And so it is a ministry. And so I didn't understand that going into marriage. I understood what I saw my grandparents do. I understood what I saw, other married couples do. It's like, okay, you cook, you clean, you work, y'all come together with finances, but it's deeper than that. Can that man or that woman cover you in prayer? Can that man and that woman stand in the gap for you when you no longer feel your connection with God? And so I think a lot of times what you're speaking on is we get so caught up in the worldly gender duties that we think is going to make someone happy, that we forget that this is a spiritual battle and God is using our marriage as a ministry. And so
Yes.
the woman who didn't store over her marriage well because I fought everything carnally and I
Yes.
looked at it as a tit for tat thing constantly. And I can speak on myself. Because God didn't show me who my husband was when I started going to him asking for questions. He showed me who I was. And
Amen.
and because I over my marriage correctly as a woman of God, he showed me like, baby, this is what I'm looking for. He took me to love is patient, love is kind, love is all of these things. And he showed me what it's not. It's not keeping records of wrongdoings. It's not, judging your spouse based off of what they do and don't do anymore for you to appease your flesh. Because let's be clear, even though marriage is a ministry and sex is ordained for marriage, let's be clear, you can still utilize sex and everything else in your marriage to satisfy your flesh and not allow God to get the glory. And
Amen.
so we don't fully understand that in the flesh because I didn't. I'm thinking, oh, I'm married, we're doing all of these marital things, this is pleasing to God. And just because you're married doesn't mean that your sex life is pleasing to God. Just because you're married doesn't mean that the things that you do for your spouse or your husband is pleasing to God. Because if God is not getting the glory from that marriage, then it cannot be sustained. When he say 3-strand cord, that's what
he meant.
And that's something that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So for those who get married for sex, do understand that sex, if it's only to appease your flesh and please your flesh, that is still not ordained by God. And that is still not pleasing to God. And so I think, just to elaborate on what you're saying, you're absolutely right, because it won't be sustained, because the flesh is what they say, the flesh is fickle. Because maybe people, that man, that woman, or that man may be pleasing your flesh today and the sex may be good today, but what happens when it's not? What happened when God is taking that woman through spiritual warfare and she can't mentally connect with you to have that sex because it's not showing, she can't perform or show up the way that you need her to for your flesh? How do you navigate through that?
Yep.
And so I agree with you. And so I've learned a lot about that, recently, just going through some of the things that I've gone through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll,
Go ahead, Mr. Alexis.
I'll chime in because I feel like my marriage wasn't super long. I was married for a short time before life interrupted that. But a piece of that, I did feel like it was kind of married for sex. I could be honest, and I'm gonna testify about it because as soon as I got married, I immediately got pregnant. And I was like, "Dang, that was fast." I thought it was gonna take me a couple months to get pregnant, but everything God orchestrates, and God did it for a reason. And so, because I got pregnant immediately, I wasn't as well. I was sick a lot, and I just didn't feel up for performing. And so, one of the reasons why my marriage fell apart is due to infidelity, because I wasn't able to perform in that manner so soon because I was already producing a child. And when you, Lenedra, you said it, you said sometimes you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And I remember beating myself up about it, about how I couldn't, this is what I was blamed for, the reason why that decision was made. And my friends helped me understand, when you get married, if you want a kid, you got to understand as a husband, you're supposed to help your wife through that process. He wanted the child, so he needs to support you while you're sick. And so that shouldn't have been a reason why that would have happened. Absolutely. And so I also know that, because I wasn't married for so long, I can't say like the whole love is patient, because even when my marriage was falling apart, I said, well, God, is this a for better or for worse I'm supposed to stay in? Because before I got married, I felt like I had signs, but I was thinking about everybody else. The venue was paid for. The bridesmaids had their dresses. Everybody was flying in. I had the dress, and I was like, you know what, God, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm thinking about other people rather than myself. And I think sometimes people, and at that time I was desperate for marriage. I wanted a family. I wanted a husband. And I ignored everything that was showing me, maybe you shouldn't go down this road right now. And so I think it is important that we see God, so it can be God ordained. Because even when I was trying to figure out if I should divorce, it was a struggle, because I said, maybe this is the for better or the for worse I'm supposed to stay for. And I watched a sermon by Torrey Roberts, who is married to Sarah Jakes right now. And he was talking about divorce. And he said, God gave him this revelation that the Bible says what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. But if man put y'all together, meaning it wasn't God ordained, and you made a decision to marry this person and then get clearance from God, it's okay to divorce. It's okay to separate. And so I got peace in my spirit about it. And then I had other confirmations that were coming in that it was okay to divorce.
Mm-hmm.
But that has led me to say this. God has to be the center. We have to see God for what we do. And we cannot make decisions about a marriage based on our flesh and what we want and like sex. Because like you said, it's ministry. What God has joined together, what God ordained has joined together, let no man put asunder. And I think when you have a God ordained marriage, it is a beautiful thing. And so for me, I experienced that. It was one of those, I think this is what it was for, because I was part of it, because it wasn't even that long that I was married for. But I think we just got to be careful when we make decisions and not rush into it, because like you said, if I get in an accident and I'm paralyzed, are you going to be able to take care of me for the rest of my life? Or are you just going to walk out? Yeah. I think about all those things. It ain't even about looks. I don't care about how you look. I want to be attracted to you. But then again, on the flip side of that, if I go down and we can't, and I ain't put up together, are you going to still be with me, or are you just going to leave me high and dry?
Yeah.
So I would consider that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love this. I love the fact that you all can see your singleness in your marital mistakes. And that's what, and unfortunately, those who have not been married sometimes never get that chance until they've been married and divorced. Yeah. So when you have been married and divorced, you do see your faults. You do see the things that you could have done better. And it's not to, like, I hate when people say, well, don't be so hard on yourself. No, this is growth. This is growth when I can see my faults, or when I can see the things that I could have done better in order to, for one, even making the decision of getting married. Mm-hmm. Even to that point of like, should I have made the decision of being married? So I understand both of you guys wholeheartedly, hands down. I'm going to transition a little bit into talking about dating, right? So being that we're all content with being single, what has dating looked like for you guys since?
Trash.
Listen, I see Alexa shake her head before I even get it out.
It's been awful. Oh my God. Awful.
Listen, I'll explain it like this. I had a young lady tell me, Auntie Erika, it is pee in the dating pool. I said pee back. I said pee back.
There's a meme that says when the new batch of men come out, because these are stale. These ones are stale. Send the new batch, Lord.
So let's bring it back to that.
Yes.
Because I don't like to wholeheartedly poke at women when it comes down to men, but I think that we're at fault a little bit. And I'll tell you why. I think that some of the decisions that we make, and me included, so I'm not excluding myself, some of the decisions that we make in dating help to build this pool of stale men. Some of the choices and the things that we accept in relationships. And I think, and I'm not pointing at you all, you two, generally, I'm just speaking like generally speaking, not directly to you guys, but I think that we as women, we've learned to accept someone not showing up for you. We've learned to accept someone not valuing you. We've learned to accept excuses for their traumas. Like, I'm 50 years old. If you ain't got your daddy and your mama issues, listen, you don't want to get them done. You don't want to fix that. So I've learned that at a certain point that why would I continue to waste time with someone who's not willing to get to work on those things. Because if I'm not good enough for you to work on those things, then guess what? No one is going to be. The last one wasn't, the last one before that is not, and the last one before that is not. You have to want that for yourselves. And I think as men, especially speaking to my black men, why? Because I've never dated anybody white or any other race. So speaking to my black men, like, it's not our job to fix your trauma. And we as a women start to take on the responsibility of a man's trauma. And that is living in your masculine. And it's not our job to do that. It is literally not our job to take on all of his traumas and try to fix all of his problems. So we got to stop being Mrs. Fix It and allow these men to be able to court you properly, to date you properly, to be able to say, get your junk right before you try and holler at me. Like, get your stuff right. Listen, I don't have time for that right there. So, but we can't see because he's handsome and he looks good professionally. Because let me tell you something. A man that looks good professionally, he can fool the unsuspecting eye.
Absolutely.
But when I say I listen to everything a man says now, I listen to every little piece. And it's not that I'm weeding out, but it's telling me what's inside of him. So it's not like, oh, he out, oh, he out, oh, he out. I mean, at this age, they come with a lot of baggage. But this is the thing. It's not my problem.
Right.
And that's what we do. We take on other people's, oh, he got issues with his kid's mom. I'm going to try and help him. Da, 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 da. That's not our problem. Those are his kid's mom. But that's his baby mama. That's not yours.
Right.
So it's one of those things that you have to take we have to take responsibility for not taking on their responsibility.
Right.
You guys want to add to that one?
Yeah, I'll chime in because I remember one time me and you were talking, and I was dating this guy, and I don't know if you remember this, but the guy was like, "Oh, I don't have any gas. I gotta get my kids. I left my wallet. I need it." And I like cashed app. I said, "Yeah, I cashed app and $20." You said, "Girl, you are a single mother. Don't you ever get no man no money ever get in your life?" And I never forget it because you told me like you a single mom. If anything, he should be helping you.
Ever.
And so I think it is true because some men do pray. People look at me and they think, oh, she got it going on. She got all this money. And then he like, oh, I need this. I need that. And I'm like, bro, it should be, why are you asking me for money? You know what I'm saying? And so I also learned not to do that. But I feel like we do contribute because we like you said, allow these things to happen. I've dated people that have done things that I should have accepted. But because I was just like, oh, I just like the attention. Oh, it feels good, especially in the beginning, because I was super vulnerable around my divorce. I was super open. And every time somebody gave me a compliment, oh my God, he liked me. Oh, I can just feed this. Let me let him do this. But then sometimes I'll feed into stuff and then it's not reciprocated. And then I'm just like, this is trash. This is awful. Yeah. So I think that, when you get to a place in your life because and I even had a friend, I said, well, I'm going to let him take me out because it's a free meal. She said, you buy your own meal. Who cares if it's a free meal? You can buy your own meal.
Sure can.
She said, you don't need to do that. And so,
especially when it's not worth your time.
Especially when it's not worth my time. Yeah. So I think it's just the more I've been single, the more I've dated, and the more I'm like, okay, I can't tolerate that. Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain that because I'll get inboxes. I'll get people making passes at me. And I'm like, yeah. I'm just going to tell you now, I'm not interested. Like, I'm not even going to waste your time, because it don't make no sense. It's just, I can't see myself with you. It's just not going to go far. So I've had to do that a couple of times. So
good. Yeah. Good. That's growth.
Absolutely.
Yes. Lenedra?
I've pretty much been the same way. Like I've actually slowed down, and I'm like that now. I heard you talking about listening. I've been listening, and I've been listening to men talk, and you will hear their traumas as they talk. You will pick up on certain things that they say, and you're like, like I had this homeboy that and I don't want to say too much because I don't like to talk about it, but and we're still cool, but Just to give an example of some of the things. So like you said, when they see successful women who are beautiful, who are holding down the fort on themselves, they're interested. But I always tell people, you like the idea of me because you see how I
Good.
look, and you see how I carry
Good.
myself, see how I take care of my kids. You see, so you like the idea of me, but you don't want the responsibility
Ability of me.
That's
of
good.
actually being with me. And
Right.
Yes.
so I say all that to say this. I literally had one of my friends tell me, and we're still cool, and I was able to have the conversation with him to show him how his insecurities shine, through that, because I shared something about how I feel about my body since I've had my baby, because I recently had a baby. And I shared, like, hey, I'm so, like, my aunt knows, like, I've always been athletic. I've always had an athletic body. I've always been into working out and things like that and keeping myself up. And so since the baby, I'm 36 years old. Like she said, I just had a new baby. So my body just is not how it was before. And so I made we were just having random conversation because he works out and stuff like that. And so, I'm just like, I shared about insecurity, like with me trying to bounce back from the baby. And this man tells me, oh, so that's why you're entertaining me now, because you have insecurities about your body. And
Oh, wow.
Ooh, I almost said something that was
I
ugly.
was
Oh,
like,
that's how they be now. They be so bold. Like, wow.
so in my
Excuse me.
my initial thought was to get upset, but God actually slowed me down and was like, it's an insecurity. He doesn't feel
Mhm.
if he's good enough for you. And
Mm,
so he's trying to figure out
Trying to justify.
why are you even
mm.
entertaining him? And so
Yes.
in his mind, that was his justification.
Yep.
And so for me, I was like, yo, like, I may be a little insecure about my baby body, but one thing about you, Daisha, I'm still that girl. I don't
What?
Period.
settle because like my body is not
What?
how I want it. Because any man walking down the street will still see my body and think like she's still that
What?
girl. I was
What?
just sharing about getting back in the gym and a couple insecurities
Mhm.
that I had,
Yeah.
but don't ever get it twisted. I know I'm that girl, and
Oh
I don't
yeah.
have to settle for you just because I feel like you're what's left due to me having some insecurities for my body.
No.
And
Mm.
if I'm talking to you and entertaining you, it's because I find something interesting about you.
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
then I'm learning, and God slowed me down, and He didn't allow me to get upset or angry. He allowed me to hear it for what it was, and it's his trauma, it's his insecurities. He's
Yeah.
probably never dealt with a woman, to he's probably never dealt with a woman like me or to the caliber of me. And even if he has, that woman who he had in the past probably drug him through it. She probably was that woman that made him feel beneath her. She probably was that woman like, well, I'm here and you're here, so you have to do all these things. So there's so many things that God showed to me, like when he did date a woman like you, or when he did have a woman like you, she made him feel beneath her. So
Mhm.
Wow.
now he feels as if he's beneath women like you. And so he doesn't fully understand why you're entertaining him, but he can process it if he knows what your insecurities are, so he can
Yes.
say, well, she's only talking to me because she has these insecurities.
Yeah. And then when
Mm.
she get her body right, she's not gonna want me no more.
Exactly. So try to support her, I'm just going to waste her time, basically,
Yep.
until
Absolutely.
she finds somebody that's better than me.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-mm-mm.
I think we had a comment. This is from Cherie. She said, yes, the idea of me. I love it.
Mm.
Yes. But when I say I agree with you 1000%, I agree with you 1000%. And I think that it takes a very mature person to stop, look at the insult, because that's what it was, and say, this person has some real insecurities about who I am. And trust me, I have did that a gazillion times. Like literally sit back and say, what did he just say? And just sit back and say, okay, God, what was that?
Mhm.
God, what was that? Not to make excuses for people,
Right.
but you all are older now. So now you're seeing people coming with a lot of insecurities that they're projecting upon you.
Yep.
And then now you got to figure out what to do with it. Now, it's not for us to fix every person's insecurity, but
Mhm.
if this is your person, if God is saying, this is the person that I have from you, yeah, he comes with a little scrape and bruises, but I'm going to need you to get him to understand that what's inside of him
Mhm.
and how to deal with that and how to navigate with that. But if he's your guy, he's already given you the tools to do that.
Right.
You just got to seek him. And
Right.
that's the key. Like sometimes we're dating and not seeking God.
Right.
Like we're dating and not seeking God. He cute, he fine, he do this, he buy me this, we go here, we do this. And guess what? God ain't say that was your man.
Right.
So it's like once again, like I said, we as women we have to take accountability.
Mhm.
So this is a question for you. Um, when dating, do you actually make someone show up for you, or do you allow them to show up for you?
Mhm.
I can speak for me.
Uh-huh.
I'm one of those people who I'm not gonna make anybody do and my auntie knows this about me. I'm not gonna make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. One thing I've gotten better with though is I'm paying attention to how people choose to show up for me, and then I am consciously making the decision to cut people off at this point, not
Right.
making this for them, not try to say, oh, well, eventually it'll get better. No, because if they want to, they
They-
would. And
Absolutely.
so I'm learning now instead of, I've never been a person to try to force somebody to show up for me in a way that I need them to show up. But I now am more conscious about paying attention to how people show up.
Mhm,
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like people make time for what they want. This
mhm.
whole I'm busy, I got caught up, my bad. You leave me on red for 10 hours, you hit me up, you can go a whole day without talking to me. I gotta make you show up. And I know people are saying like we gotta show these men how to treat us. We have to help, we have to teach them how to treat us. And I know I've said multiple times to different people, if I date a guy or one guy I've dealt with for a long time, I'm like, hey, you always say you're busy, but you're not too busy for the person you care about.
Absolutely.
Or you ain't that busy, especially if I see you all the time out in public and you got your phone in your hand all the time looking at stuff. So I know you see my text.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to hear it. And so I feel like once you a lot, it's kind of like I let you show me how you're gonna show up, and then you're gonna have to show up. So it's kind of both. I think you have to give them that space to show up and say, okay, hey, this is what I want. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Move on. Because you don't have to be here. I even had a guy that recently was, somebody tried to hook me up with this guy. He was nice looking, seemed decent. He was like, I don't want to, date right now. I just want to be friends. Cool. And so he, one of the things I asked him, I said, oh, so what's your type? Because we just were getting to know each other. I said, well, what's your type? And he said, oh, I don't like a girl that wear wigs and lashes and who got a big ego, and she got to be healthy and she got to be in the gym and all that stuff. Now, mind you, when he met me, I was wearing my wigs. I love my wigs. I just
Right?
got into lashes last year. I can't unsee it now, so now I'm always putting on my lashes.
Right?
And I mean, I'll go to the gym. I said, but maybe I'll go to the gym. I said, but I said, that's not me. That's not who I am. And he was like, well, maybe by the time I'm ready to date, you'll be all natural. And I was like, nah.
So I'm gonna fix me for you.
Yeah, right. And I was like, and,
No.
and for me, if you know that this is the person that got this stuff on, you met me like this, why are you even entertain it? And so I told myself, well, sorry, that's not who I am. And I'm gonna be who I am. And if that's not what it is, it's not what it is. He said, well, we could be brothers and sisters in Christ.
We ain't
Yeah.
gotta be nothing. So that would be my motto. We don't have to be anything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have to be nothing. I don't, and this is the thing. A man would try to monopolize your time so he can manipulate the situation later in life when he figures out everything about you. So I'm gonna be her friend so I can figure out everything about her, and maybe I can manipulate this situation a little bit later. No. Listen, what my sister say? Cut
Turn
when
them
I
off.
say cut him off just like that. Let him be gone by his business.
Yeah.
Because you don't need someone just watching your every move to figure out what your weaknesses are, how they can get in, how they can manipulate you into getting in. And this is the thing. I say it all the time at work. because I work in a big organization, I see a lot of stuff going on. And I'm so quick to say, oh, she ain't got no aunties. I need her to come to my house for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna help her out with that one right there. Yeah, don't let him do that right there. Hey, don't let him. Don't So, but I'm always that because I'm always on my nieces, and I'm telling them all the time. Hey, so he said what? Okay, so this is what you gonna do.
You
Yeah,
sure
this
got me straight. You sure got me straight.
period.
But man, you was like, let's
Period.
not do that again.
Yeah.
Period. When I say period, don't, because
Yeah.
men are men and men
Mhm.
are hunters, they're chasers, they will come after what they want. And
Absolutely.
you'll know when he's no longer wanting that. He may have wanted it for a while, but he may realize, okay, you know what, it's taking a little bit too much to get Alexis. I need to
Mhm.
get somebody who's a little bit easier. I
Yeah.
need
Mhm.
to get somebody who's going to throw me some sex. I need to get somebody who's going to be willing to wash my clothes. I need somebody to come over to my house and clean my house. Boy, I got my own house to clean.
Right.
I'm not coming to no man house to clean his house.
So hire me a cleaner. I stop playing. Okay, I ain't lying.
Thank you. Thank you. But it's one of those things like when a man is really wanting to know you, he's
Yes,
coming after you, not
absolutely.
what you can do for him.
Mhm.
The minute a man starts telling you what you can do for him, he's not it.
Right.
He's not it. He's not the one. You was getting ready to say something, Lenedra.
No, I was just saying I like what she said about this is how you met me. And that goes back to what you were saying about women trying to fix men. Like
Yes.
it's
Mhm.
the same concept. I'm not asking you to come in and fix me. I like who I am. I like my
Right.
wigs. I like my lashes. I like,
Mhm.
going to the gym 1, 2, 3 times a week. I don't have to be in there at 7 days a week all the time. I
Mhm.
like what I have going for myself now. And it's the same thing that you said about when men come into our lives and we see all of these problems and we feel like we have to fix them. I think it goes both ways. If I see all of those red flags up front, it's like, okay, it's not my job to fix you. And if you come in and you see me with lashes and wigs on and that's not what you like,
Keep going.
it's your job to fix me.
Listen, keep going. I
Yeah.
am so adamant that I am a plus size woman.
Mhm.
If you don't want a plus size woman, don't look at me thinking you finna help me lose nothing. Don't look at me thinking, oh, I'm gonna make her do this and make. Don't. You're wasting your time. I'm a
Absolutely.
plus size woman. I gain weight, I lose weight. It is what it is. That's just women in life.
Right.
Period. But when you
Right.
see me, I'm a plus size woman, and guess what? I'm okay with who I am.
Mhm.
Period. So
Right.
if that's not what you want, if you're looking to see me in a different light, I'm not your person.
Right.
I always say this as well. I'm a woman of God. There is times that I'm going to tell you that I have this time is allotted for God and God only. I'm going to have to talk to you another day. I need you to respect that time. And
Yeah.
this is it. Everyone that who I have dated, it's only been two since my marriage. Those they respected my time.
Mhm.
Even to the point if it was, oh my God, I didn't realize I called you on this day. I'm so sorry. Can I just tell you something real quick? Or why did you answer the phone? You should have just not answered the phone. And then I would have realized this is your day that you do da 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 da. When you set boundaries,
Mhm.
people who care about you will respect them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those who don't will not.
Yeah.
Mhm. I
They
agree.
will not respect those boundaries. So it's for us as women to set the boundaries. And I also feel like same thing for men. It is for you to set those boundaries. And I remember telling a young man, I said, I walked up on a conversation of two guys talking, and they were talking. It was around Valentine's Day, and they was talking about. One of them was saying, "I'm not buying my girl no Valentine's Day. This is just a holiday that the man created for us to spend a lot of money." Da 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 da. And I said, "Now the guy who's saying this, I didn't know him, but I knew the other guy, and he was kind of chiming in, yeah, man, yeah, man." I looked at him like, for real. So
Mm-mm.
I said, "Hold on." I said, "So let me ask a question. So if your woman wanted to do something for Valentine's Day, you wouldn't do it for her?" I'm not doing that. These women want you to be buying them Gucci bags and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, I'm saying to myself, what, hold on.
Mm-mm.
Does your woman know whether you can afford a Gucci bag or not? Because if she already knows that you can't afford a Gucci bag, as a woman, she wouldn't even ask you for that. And I said, first of all, you got to know what kind of woman you have. Because a woman who knows that that's something that you can't afford, she would not ask you for that. Someone who cares about you. I said, but don't dismiss her and tell her I'm not doing nothing for you for Valentine's Day. So I said, do you celebrate Thanksgiving? And he was like, yeah. I said, okay. Do you eat? You have dinner and all of that? Somebody cooking, right? And he was like, yeah. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, I spent about $300 on Thanksgiving. And I don't have no kids or no husband. So is it fair to say I don't want my family to have a nice Thanksgiving because I don't have no kids and I have no family? No, we do things for people who we love.
Absolutely.
And I said, if you love her, you wouldn't look at her and dismiss her because you feel like Valentine's Day is just a way for people to get money out of y'all. Well, Thanksgiving is the same way because Thanksgiving originated out of murder. But yet we spend money on Thanksgiving to hang out with our families.
And do.
So I was like, don't do that. I said, because you set your stank feet up underneath somebody's table and ate some hog maws and chitlins and dressing and rice and all those things, and you probably ain't spent a dime on it. So somebody paid for that. So it's one of those things that when you love people, you will provide things for them. We as women sometimes naturally do it because we're naturally nurturers. However, some men who were not taught by their fathers or possibly did not have a male role model in their life, they're looking to social media and all these, these podcast bros and all these people are telling them what they shouldn't do for women because they too have not been taught by men. So they don't understand that that's what men do. I heard a guy say, as a matter of fact, what's her name? She play on not Drew. What's her name? I'm gonna think of it in a minute. But she played on one of the Love and Hip Hops. But her husband, his name is Marcus, and Marcus says a man is a giver and a woman is a receiver, and he says that is across the board. He says from sex all the way through life. If you have a woman and you're a man, you're giving and she's receiving. So as a man, you should know that you're a giver to a woman, not a taker. Right. Period. So if he's trying to take something from you, he's not the one for me.
Right. I agree.
Y'all want to add something too? Because we had another comment from Miss Sharice. She says, we don't need a man to fix us. When we're ready to change us for us, we don't need help with that from a man. No, we don't. Yeah. We don't need him to fix us. But one thing that I can say that certainly, I ain't gonna say certain, most marriages that God put together, he placed together because there was a deficit in you and there was a deficit in him. And you all made the deficit and come together. So I think that we have marriages that we're seeing, they're unfinished products that God is putting together for a bigger purpose. Yeah, definitely for bigger purposes. Okay, so
and just to add on to that, one thing I have learned is our problem is like she said, we do try to change each other. We try to change each other carnally. Like, I feel like if I tell you enough about yourself, you'll eventually change. Well, what I learned is that's not how it works.
Yes.
You take your husband or your wife to God and you allow God to do a work in them and do a work in you. Because one thing about it, two things to show. One thing I've learned, when you're carnally trying to change somebody to fit the mold of what you want them to be, is because you're trying to satisfy you. You're not worrying about God getting the glory. You're not worrying about, how it benefits the people that you're supposed to be discipling to. You're only thinking about you and how that person benefits you. But when you take that person to God and you say, God, do a work in them
Them.
and
Yeah.
allow God to do a work in them and allow God to grow them into the person that he wants them to be, that's how God gets the glory, because
Yeah.
we'll
Absolutely.
eventually step into our purpose.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Somebody is control, it's manipulation, and
Yep.
I've done them both. So I'll speak on myself. I don't even have to speak on other people. God showed me that about myself. Um,
Mhm.
it's control, it's manipulation, which boils down to what? Witchcraft. So for those women of God who think that they don't operate in witchcraft, who think that they don't operate in the dark realm, I'm here to tell you that if you're trying to control that man, control that marriage, control that whole scenario without talking to God, and when you do go to God, you going to God telling God what you want him to fix, not asking God to just allow you to see your husband in the way in which he created him and give you the tools to store over the purpose that your husband carries. No, you want to go to God and say, my husband, please stop my husband from doing this. Please make my husband do this. You're trying to control and manipulate God.
God.
Absolutely.
And I've been there. I've been there.
Yes.
You're operating in witchcraft and
Yep.
you're operating in a dark realm, and you need to ask for forgiveness and repent. And I think as women, a lot of us don't realize how manipulative we are, how
Mhm.
controlling we are, and
Yeah.
how we think that things are supposed to look and go the way that we think they are.
Yeah.
I read a book called Power of a Praying Wife. That book really changed my perspective on how to approach relationships and marriages, and understanding that that marriage is not about me. That marriage is not about my husband.
Mhm.
Nope.
That marriage is not about this cute house and this cute family that we created together.
Mhm.
That marriage is for God to get the glory. My husband don't belong to me and I don't belong to him. We both belong to God.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
once we fully understand, because I'm still learning it, but once we fully once we can fully understand that, then I feel like, that's when God begins to, like Matthew 33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else shall be added unto you. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
will feel joy, you will feel peace, but you first have to surrender everything to God and understand that it is not in your control. And
Right.
so I think that's something that I want to share as a part of my testimony is, baby, for the women, if you're operating like that, you're operating in the dark world and you're operating in witchcraft. Uh, uh,
Amen.
God
Amen.
tend to fall victim or to fall short in that realm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You
Yeah.
want to add something to that, Alexis?
Yeah, I was gonna say I recently actually when she said control, I was like, Lord, it's coming up again because I recently and I believe in therapy. I'm in therapy right now, and I God in therapy is my motto. And so one of the things that I've been working on in therapy is my control issues. Now, I'm at work. Everybody that know me, everybody knows I'm high spirit. I'm real extra. I say I have a little OCD, but it's really like a little sense of control. So I like to be in control of a lot of things, not just in relationships, just in general, at my job, with friendships, with my son. I want him to control how he act. I just want to be in control. And so I'm working that out in therapy because I also realized I was trying to control what God does in my life as far as my marriage. I said, okay, God, time is winding down. It's been about 10 years now. My son about to be 10. I should, I need to be in a relationship by now. I need to have a kid by now. And once I realized, I was having a conversation with the girl who does my braids. We're friends now. And she said, it seems like you got some control things going on. And I said, you know what? That's what it is. I want to control. That's just naturally who I am. I want to be in the lead. I want to be in control. And I'm trying to control everything. And I'm learning to relinquish that control. So it's crazy you said that because I see how people do control, manipulate in the dark web. I just feel like that's just my personality. Like, I want everything to go a certain way. It has to be this way. And if you try to change it, right, I'm be like, ugh, like I'm cringing, right? And so I also feel like too, you brought up some good points because even when I first did get separated from my husband, he was one that paid every bill and everything was paid. And when he went away, I was like, dang, Lord, I was like, oh, if he was here, this would be paid. Oh, if he was here. And God convicted me so hard. He said, he was never your source. I'm your source. Excuse me, I'm your source. I'm your provider. And when I learned to relinquish that, God has been provided for me ever since, and God has opened doors for me. And sometimes we go into these marriages and these relationships thinking that these people are who we need to lean on, who we need to depend on, who we have to call on. And nobody, even if we desire marriage more than God, God's not going to be pleased with that, because he wants us to have our focus on him and him only. And when God showed me you was dependent on him for everything, I'm going to show you how I can provide for you better. I went back to work. Got my salary went up $13,000 out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I was struggling. And ever since then, God has been providing for me. So it's also important that before we get married, that we know how to rely on God and keep our eyes on him and him only. So we don't have to be in control. So we don't have to manipulate. So we don't have to do nothing. They're going to show up for you, because like she said, if your breath smell like onions, or you walk with a limp, or you ain't got no edges, my edges a little thin, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? He gonna love you. I got a little push.
Anyway.
I got a little push. The man that God has for me is gonna love me for who I am. He gonna handle all of that.
He can handle all of that.
And my extraness, because I'm extra. Everybody know I'm extra. It's fine. I'm not dimming my light.
All the time. I have big emotions. Big emotions. I'm big. I am somebody that is very heavy to carry, because I carry a lot of heavy things. And I'm learning that the people who are not for me, I make people extremely uncomfortable, because I carry something so heavy.
Even when you don't say nothing. Even when you don't say anything, you still make them uncomfortable.
I still make people uncomfortable, even when I don't utter a word. And so I agree with you. Like I'm a lot. I am a lot, and I'm understanding that, and I'm learning to be okay with that.
Right.
I don't know if Auntie Erika was going to bring it up or not, but
go ahead.
Watching that, I sent Auntie Erika story, because I've gotten into watching these little.
Oh, I sent it to her.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes. Her answer was like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
I did. I said, "Woo!"
Yes.
Just to elaborate on you, like, I'm a police officer. I have to have a big personality. I work in. I have to hold my own constantly. And so I think it does. And when I show up on scene, that's my scene. I'm in control. So, you know, but so I'm the same like you. At work, I'm constantly in control. You know, I feel like I have to control, or I did feel as if I had to control every aspect of my life. And then also I've experienced where I've shrunk myself and minimized myself and didn't allow myself to show up big how I know I am, because I realize when I walk in certain rooms how uncomfortable people become. So I would shrink myself just so people didn't think. I will overshare so people will understand, like, hey, I'm not the person that you think I am. I come from poverty. I understand what it's like to struggle. I understand what it's like to be raised in a household with a single mother. But God is showing me lately, you don't have to do that. You don't have to minimize yourself and make people feel comfortable by, you know, trying to convince them that you understand who they are. It's okay for them to feel your presence when you walk in. It's okay for them to see that light when you walk in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Years doing that to make people comfortable around me, because I know even just walking in the room, they're already uncomfortable. And so I've spent years of changing myself and shrinking myself to try to make people feel comfortable around me.
Wow.
So no more of that. No more of that. No more shrinking, because and I reiterate the story that you sent us. It's just, she sent us, it was a 30-minute cartoon about a young lady shrinking herself in life for relationships and for certain professional opportunities. And we do that. People of other races don't realize how much Black women shrink themselves. We shrink ourselves so much because we come with a certain personality that if they 10 pounds overweight and we 50 pounds overweight, we still think we the baddest thing walking in the room. If we come in with burgundy hair today, green hair tomorrow, purple hair the next day, we don't even care if you think it's weave. We could care less. And just don't go touching it. We good. And we come in with a natural ponytail the next day, we're good. That's because we have learned to be so content with our urbanness that it makes people uncomfortable. So as I wear these big earrings in my office, I'm not changing them. I like big earrings. So I'm not shrinking myself to make other people feel comfortable. And what I realize is the minute you stop shrinking is the minute they're intrigued.
Absolutely.
So people start to be intrigued about who you are. I think she's always dressed. She's always this. She's always have this done and this done and that done and this done and this done. So stop shrinking. And this is what I say. If there is something in you that someone wants small, they obviously see you as a giant.
Yeah.
They see you as a giant when you walk in the room. So instead of shrinking yourself, start to ask God, what do they see?
Good.
Because they're obviously seeing something in me that I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about shrinking anymore. And it's not even about shrinking in relationships. So, and I say that to say, I'm not saying just be all loud and boisterous in a relationship and I'm just going to do me. No. That's not what we're saying. Not what we're saying. We're saying seek the Father first.
Absolutely.
You're seeking the Father first. No matter what you do, however you're going to grow, you're going to seek Him first. Are you going to still make mistakes and decisions that are not pleasing to God, even when you seek Him? You are human. That's the human side of you. But the key is, are you still seeking Him? Are you still constantly seeking Him? Are you still constantly going back to Him? Are you still, seeking the Father for whatever it is? And when I say the Father, I mean the Heavenly Father. I mean God. I don't mean no universe. I mean God. I mean the God of the angel armies, the God of Isaac, Jacob, and Esau. I mean Isaac, Jacob, and Abraham. That's the God I'm speaking of. So, when you are seeking the Father in relationships, we have to seek Him in every aspect of it. I heard a lady give a prayer that she prayed over her husband before she got him. And one of the things was that he has a long stroke to satisfy her. And I say, I know that's right.
Wow.
I know that's right.
Wow.
But the thing about it is, and she said many things. She talked about his loyalty. She talked about his, him being generous, because you can get a man with money, but is he gonna give you any?
Yes.
If he's not generous, then you ain't gonna get none. You'll just have a man with some money.
Right.
So just having a man that's generous and not the man that's giving it to the community, like y'all know what I mean when I say community. I mean like every woman. I'm just saying a man who is set to be generous to you, because we automatically come with it. Most of us automatically come with a certain form of generosity, because that's what we do as women.
Yes.
We will naturally give something to someone. So if you're that man and he's generous, he's gonna give to you. Period. Hands down, because that's what men do. We have just a few minutes, and let me know, Alexis, if you need to check.
We good. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask a couple more questions. Do you feel that everybody who was in love with you is still in love with you?
Yep. I feel like, because old stuff will come up. Memories will be talked about. And just make it very clear, no more. So,
okay.
I feel like that's possible. But yeah, I feel like one, for sure.
Okay.
I was only in like one relationship. I was in the same relationship since high school, and like as an adult, I've only had like one real adult relationship, and so I want to be very careful, but I would just answer the question and say, I don't know if I'll leave it at I don't know, because I don't want to because I can't have it speaking for someone and telling somebody how they feel, but I wouldn't know, because I have no contact with anybody that I've dated in my adult life.
Okay. So I'll say this, and I'll tell you what I meant by it. And I kind of threw it out there just to see what what your reaction was going to be initially. I say it like this: just because someone still has love, still loves you, doesn't give them the right to still have access.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes when you're a good person, like as a woman, and I can say for myself because I'm a little older than you guys. So as a woman, I knew when someone loved me and when someone didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it, and I mean, in a relationship, I knew when someone loved me and someone didn't. So not no ego. This is not no ego tripping stuff. I knew when I was in a relationship and there was no love. I knew it. I knew when there was a relationship and it was love.
Right.
And one thing about love, especially when you have experienced a person in a certain way, there's always going to be a sense of love for you, especially when you left a situation respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
When there was honor in the decision of parting. There's almost always going to be a form of love, but that does not mean they always have to have access to you.
Right.
And I think that sometimes we as women, we make the mistake of allowing people to continue to have access to us just because I know they still have love for me. But when you know the relationship is not going beyond what you see, don't waste your time.
Right.
Like literally, don't waste your time. It's a waste of time. And I'm quick to tell people I don't need no bunch of homeboys.
Right. That's one thing I've learned in this season, and that's why I said I don't want to speak on people because I've learned to cut access. I've learned in this season to love people, but to not to limit the access that people have to me. Because I used to be wide open, and that's not of God either. Just allowing people to have direct access and direct contact with you constantly whenever they feel like they want to call you and check on you, or whenever they feel like they want to do this and do that. And I've learned that's not good, or that's not good spiritually for you or them. So you're also doing them a disservice as well. So I've learned to be okay in this season with cutting people's access to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't have to have access to me for me to know that you love me. You don't have to have access to me for you to know that I love you.
Yep.
You just, to me, it's just, I don't have to do that anymore. And I'm learning because I used to feel guilty. I used to be like, well, I love them. So no, I don't feel guilty anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have to have access to each other to know that the love is there.
I think that's a part of setting boundaries
Yeah.
that sometimes we as women refuse to set.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I'll give an example of one of my boundaries. So, because I have other things I have a business that I do communicate with a lot of men, right? My boundary is don't call me after 9 p.m. I'm not your woman.
Yep.
Like, period. Like, after 9 p.m., I look at my phone, I'd be like, yeah, no. Unless it's something that we have been literally working on and you reaching out, hey, I'm just calling you because I got da 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 in place. Outside of that, if it's not something that's like desperately needs my attention, no. Merely because I'm single. And a lot of times men cross the boundaries in business relationships.
Right.
So I like, hey, call me before 9 o'clock. Hey, you need to reach out to me, call me before 9 o'clock. So I think that's a part of exploring your freedom and being single that sometimes we don't explore enough. And I think we have to explore those things in order to get, because a man will stick to a boundary if you stick to it.
Yes.
But if you don't, it's just a suggestion.
Right.
Period.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you have to be the one to literally stick to your boundaries. I think that us being content, and I'm just going to give some highlights here. I think us being content with being single, it helps us explore freedom that we haven't experienced. I remember talking to a friend of mine, her daughter, and I looked at her and I was like, "You're looking real happy these days. What you got going on?" And she was like, "I don't know. I got a new man in my life. Maybe that's it." And I said, "What?" And she says, "What? I have a new man in my life." And I said, "No. Is that the only reason why you're happy?" And she said, "I don't, what do you mean?" And I said, "No." And I said, "So let me tell you something. What happens when he's no longer there? Then your happiness is gone. You cannot attribute your happiness to the fact that you have someone in your life. Because when he's gone bye-bye, then you're no longer happy." And I said, "I need you to go out and explore the things that you like in this life. And you need to figure out what you like, because if all your things that you explore in life is attached to him, if he leaves, you're no longer going to want to experience those things anymore because it reminds you of him. So it's going to be more of a sad situation than a happy situation. But if you go out in life and experience some things that you love in life, then when you come with someone, if it doesn't work, you still get to do the things that you love.
Mhm.
And it's not attached to that relationship." Another person, I said, "Stop looking for love. We're not looking for love. I have love all around me. I'm not searching for love from someone. I am searching. There is a search for companionship, loyalty, honor. I have love. Now, do I want love to come with that? Yes. But that's not what I'm searching for. That's not the desire that I have. So when I hear people say I'm looking for love, don't. You have love. You got kids that love you. You got parents that love you. You got siblings, they love you. You have love all around. You got friends, they love you. Stop looking for love. Love. Period. So don't search for that. Like, because you'll constantly be searching for something that someone gives and takes back and gives and takes back and gives and takes back. Those people who love you unconditionally, they're not going to take it back.
100%.
It's just there.
And
Period.
I think a lot of people who feel the lack of love, and I'm just going to go on and say it because I'm one of those people who are for God, is they have a lack of God. God is love.
Absolutely.
God is love. You're searching for outer love and you're searching for somebody to love you. What you is the love of Christ.
Yes.
And I know because when you're searching for all of these worldly things, I was young, fresh out of, I was in high school, young and love and all of those things. I didn't even take the time as a young woman to understand the way Christ actually loves me. He doesn't love me because of who I am. He doesn't love me because of what I do. God don't even care that he cares, but it's like me being a disciple for him, me spreading his word, me doing all of these things. If you read the book of Matthew, he'll tell you, I don't really, it's going to be, I cast out demons in your names. I did all these things. Yeah, but did you know me? Did you have
That's it.
From me? I never
Knew you.
There's understanding that he loves us not because of our performative ways, not because we could get up and pray for people, not because we could get up and do all of these things. When it set into my spirit that no, he loves me.
He loves me just because of me.
He loves me. And what's even greater than him loving me because he created me is he loves me simply because of who he is. It's his nature. So to take it back to dating, I want a man who exhibits the fruits of the spirit. The fruits of the spirit is his nature. He's not just kind because he's trying to court me. I want a man
who's kind, period.
He's kind.
I want a man who's just generous to me. I want a man who is generous in general, because those are things that you look at from people. I heard somewhere that said that, like, if you have a man that you see being nasty to everybody in the world, but he's just kind to you because he's pursuing you, that's not
he's nasty.
Want to be with, because he doesn't have the fruit of the spirit on the inside of him. He's a man who's probably narcissistic, who looks at you and knows what he wants, and I'm gonna get her by any means necessary because that's what I want. And anything else around that, I don't care about. I don't want a man like that. And
Right.
so tie it all back in. I want a man who has the fruits of the spirit, like you said,
Yes.
that dwell with,
Galatians 5:22 and 23.
there you go. And
Love, patience.
that,
Yes.
that exhibits that because that's how Christ loves me. And he
Right.
calls my husband. He says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church. And we understand how
Absolutely.
Christ loves the church.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
All he told us to do is love our husbands.
love our husbands.
That's it.
Yeah.
Not like Christ loved the church.
And wives, love your
That's it.
husbands.
That's all.
What he said.
That's it.
That was all. But he
That's it.
requires my husband to love me as he loves the church. And
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
people who are searching for love externally and from people, they lack the understanding of the love that
Love of God.
for us.
Yes.
And so you have to build and develop that relationship with Christ. So you'll know. Oh yeah, I'm drinking this glass of liquor today. God is mad at me, so I'm not gonna talk to him. No, when you understand that God loves you past that, you're gonna drink your glass of liquor and you're gonna be like, God, please, I'm surrendering this to you. I'm no longer trying to fix myself. I love you enough to say that I have a problem and I'm bringing this real problem to you, but I know you love me in regardless. And I'm not about to allow this glass of liquor to condemn me. I'm not about to allow this mistake to condemn me because I understand your love for me and the relationship that we have.
Yes.
Unconditional.
I think that the body of Christ does not do that justice sometimes, merely because we focus so much on the sin,
Yes.
not the love.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
not the love. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Did you want to add something to that, Miss Alexis?
Yeah, she just covered it.
Good. Okay, so I'm just gonna say these last parting words. In your singleness, being content with being single, explore your values. When you are exploring your values and understanding your self-worth, you will, like, the light bulb will click on and be like, I don't have to take that. I don't have to accept that from no person. I don't have to accept this. I know how valuable I am. Like, I know how valuable I am. And I remember telling my my Bible study group once, and I said, I feel sorry for people who don't understand how much God loves me, because they dumb me down to basically what they think I am, because they don't understand how much God loves me, period.
Mhm.
So we have to be in a space that we understand how much God loves us. Just like Lenendra said, understanding the love of God. When you're understanding the love of God, then you won't reach out there for love. All right, we are going to end this. We are probably about 12 minutes over our time. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you, Sharice, for her comment. She said, "Preach, girl." I think that was for you, Day, because you was. I'm sorry, Lenendra. I think that was for you because you were speaking at that time. But yes, I really thank you guys for watching. Also, follow us on YouTube, Soulful Revelations by Erika. We're on YouTube. You can go back and rewatch this. Please share this. Share this with any of your friends. Anybody who you think this will be a benefit for. Anybody who you think that we can help in a positive way. Please share, like, and follow us. Thank you guys for having us today. Have a good one.
Thank you.